Hey, Drippy gang. Welcome. So, today I'm gonna talk about the trade I took Friday. It was a lotto call for Moderna, and I'm gonna break down complete trade from just the way my mind process was and why I decided to take it. So, just make sure you pay attention to everything here. There's a lot of information. Um, So first, let's look at this chart. Look at the macro events surrounding this on Friday. News came out that MRK has a new, COVID pill, but a lot of people I think missed out on the fact that this pill is for folks who have COVID, right? It's not a vaccination per se, right? I mean, yeah, sure, people who don't want to get vaccination can take this pill, but it's still under observation, and it's still experimental pill. Like FDA hasn't approved or anything yet. And as far as I know, for travel, you still need vaccination. So keep that in mind. So now look at Moderna. I told last week that Moderna, I'm expecting it to drop, and the reason was simple, right? Like it was in this pennant, and it was kind of like I alerted the group that I will short Moderna by puts, and we made a lot of money on this trade, but I didn't make on the bigger move because I wasn't paying attention, but we made money on some other trades, so it's all good. But now look at this trade. In 1 week it has dropped. It dropped almost 100 points. And look at the the ATR for this stock, the average true range. So that means that it moves around $25 in a day, more or less, up or down. Now, um, and the weekly volatility for a week is 7% average, and this time it was down big. On the week, like almost 4 ATR for the day, and 23% on the week. So that's a big move. And look where it dropped to on Friday, right on weekly 21 EMA, and it has not broken this EMA since a long time. Like this EMA has held all the way since last year. So why would you think that it's not gonna do the same, right? It's still on a bull run. This will still be a pullback, and there are some investors waiting to get in, and this was a good buying opportunity for them. Well, I'm not saying it cannot drop below it. Sure, it can. There's a gap around 266 area, so it might go, consolidate there, but it just depends on the overall market. But on that day, I knew that it's not gonna drop that much. The news wasn't really bad for Moderna. It was the overreaction, and it gapped down. So it gapped down on that day. So you could have entered this trade. So the way I think about this trade, this gap down, is, let me just hide this EMA for a sec. Yeah. So the way I think about this trade is I think a lot of people had a stop loss around 375, which is also a psychological level, and also if I was shorting Moderna, I would wait for break of this level around 375, and that's what happened. It gapped down, so a lot of selling pressure. So the same thing here, and it's also in this demand zone. If you look here, on daily, there's been some consolidation here back in July 2021. So it's still in, it lapped right into confluence of weekly 21 and this demand zone. Like, why would it not? Why would there be no buyers at this point? So that was my mentality on a higher time frame. Um, and then let's go to the 5 minute chart. That's what I use for scalping. Um, so if you look on that day here, it gapped down here, so there is a big gap here. I mean, it might fill it, so that's why I kind of alerted for 385 calls, because in my opinion, like every time it has, one more thing to consider here is that every time Moderna drops big, there is usually it's followed by some kind of rebounds, like the same thing here, like it dropped here and then rebound for a couple of days and then drop here again. And also keep in mind it hasn't retested this trend line yet, so I don't know if it will, but that could happen. Yeah, anyway, so let's go back to the original trade now. I alerted the followers on Twitter that I'm buying the dip. So I started buying dip around this area, and then I averaged down. 325 was my stop around that, and I saw this wick, and I kind of averaged more. And then I think I still have like 385 calls. I think it has room to go. But the lotto wasn't until 2:30, and the reason why I alerted for that was, now look at this on a lower time frame, right? um, it established a higher high and a higher high and a higher low. So this was the higher low point, right? And if you look at Moderna, right, I told on the group that it's gonna curl up around this time. I was like, watch Moderna curl up, because Moderna does that all the time. This stock has a habit of, like, they are buyers right below stop losses, and they push the stock up. And I've traded this for a couple months, so I know Moderna very well at this point of time. Um, and I was kind of like, it broke this level. And also another thing to note here is that, look, it got rejected here first time. So this is 345, 347 area. So this is what my target was, and it tried to reclaim that area once, but it failed around here, like around this area, which was, like these are key structural points. uh, so it established higher high, higher low. And also, like, if you look at the patterns here, Moderna does this where it creates this like triangle pattern, and then it breaks out of that, right? So let's go back, like, let's go back to around this time, which was around 225. So notice this was around 1245. You see that a big buyer stepped in this volume here, right? And around 1 o'clock it stopped, and then look at the volume here, right? This is accumulation, because the selling pressure has decreased now. At this around at this point of time, like this was a low volume accumulation going on, in my opinion. Like, if there was a big seller here, let's say, like these wicks, these bars would be much much more violent, like this one. Like, look at the size of these versus this one, and you can compare here that this green bar is much much bigger than these small ones. So in my opinion, you know I was kind of of course I'm not bullish on this, but I knew that it has more juice to go. And I was looking at the tape as well, and I saw that like buyers were stepping up the bid. And there was this big seller around 345, and until then I didn't see anything. 340, sorry, there was a big seller at 340, and I didn't see anything apart from that. Now let's rewind to this time, around this area. So I'm watching this chart. um, I'm looking at the tape on my VBull level 2 data. And then here, let's play this. Now look at this volume here, bigger volume, 2 bars. And let's pause this for a sec here. So look, like 2 3 green bars in a row, higher volume than these bars. And on top of that, it broke out of this like kind of like a wedge. So I alerted around 226 that the lotto call, keep it small. and some people saw it and got in. So congratulations. I know someone made like from I don't know, like 500 to 700 to 1500 or something. So congratulations. um, and then like, so now once you're in a trade, it was just like at this point I was like, well, which strike to choose? And of course 345 was the obvious answer, because I thought it's gonna at least try to reclaim this level once again. And the volume was increasing at this point. You can sell. A lot of people, including me, were thinking, well, how high will it go? But of course I'm not gonna sell, because I'm looking here, there's no selling pressure on the tape, and this big buyer came, and I think maybe shorts were covering. So this was around 2 o'clock, right? Like, what if like, if you're a short, when will you cover it? Because on the weekend some news might come related Moderna, which it does a lot of times. And if you're short, there's a high chance, there's a risk involved. What if it gaps up in the morning? So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there was a chance. So I think some shorts were trying to cover at this point, and it was around market close. So I think this was not a big move, but since it was last day expiry, we got around 75 cents around here. And this 10-point move, we sold pretty much at the top. Like, we got the whole move, and I think from it went from 0.75 to around 4. So in overall, like, booking 560% in 15 minutes or less. So it was a like phenomenal trade in my opinion. And you don't get these opportunities often, so you take advantage of that. I told that I'm not gonna do lotto, but this looked like a great opportunity to actually do it. I was green on the day, so I was like, well, I will put a small amount. Now in the hindsight, I wish I could have put more. For example, let's say that I put 5k in this trade, right? 500% is 25k. So if a 5k account can become, you can break PDT rule in one trade, can change your like whole months to come. So you know we'll have more opportunities in the future, but this was I hope you guys learned. And another thing, like, just to confirm before the trade, I was looking at the flow around 2:30, around 2 o'clock. I saw this, that people are starting to sell puts here, and this was a big order, 765k order, um, floor order. Someone is selling put is like, now these guys might have bought puts earlier and they're selling, or they're selling it now. Both are bullish moves, and the flow was bullish around 2:30. So I was like, okay, well, overall, a whole day the flow was bearish, and then suddenly the flow kind of started to change bullish, and this was a big order. So I mean, I've like, even if it was bearish, I would have taken the trade, but this just kind of gave me a little more advantage or edge, that yeah, like, my trade conviction is strong in this one. And congratulations again. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.